I'm a nobody from nowhere that ain't never done nothing. That's what I am. An old head. These young coaches, I tell you what, I can't figure these jokers out. They got a backpack on and tight something. I don't know what they're doing. They're getting on my nerves. I can tell you that. I know what ain't in the backpack. A string and a let me paint that line for you. That ain't in there. That's for sure. I had a kid the other day. He said, "Hey, coach, didn't Christopher Columbus write the Pledge of Allegiance?" I said he sure did. He also played quarterback for the 1985 Chicago Bears. He said, bet. That happened. Sun Coaches, Season 6, where coaches come and tell their stories. Some of them are funny. Some of them is going to help you in your coaching journey. Not everybody has a funny story, but everybody has a story. Hope you enjoy Sun Coaches, brought to you by Titan Sensor. Sun Coaches is proud to partner with Titan Sensor for Season 6 and 7. Titan is made in the USA, proudly founded and based in Texas. When you connect with Titan, you are not alone. You can collaborate and share templates with other coaches across the country to build reports and foster competition. Used by programs such as State 6A Georgia State champion Grayson High School, Titan can tailor a package to fit your needs. The eye in the sky never lies. Improve your team's performance with Titan. Welcome to Sun Coaches Podcast, Season 6, and today I'm fired up to be joined by the new sitting head football coach at Luella High School, Coach William Richardson. Thanks for being on with me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, Coach, as we were talking off air, I understand that you are originally from the Palmetto State of South Carolina.
Yes, sir. God's country, man. Born and raised in Sumter, South Carolina. Graduated from Sumter High School, man, and played college ball at Coastal Carolina for David Bennett. I was like I wasn't on the original team, but I was on one of the early teams, man. We had some success for Coastal Carolina, kind of setting the foundation. Got grew up in a home. Both my parents are in education. My mother was a teacher. My father was an administrator and coach. He played football at South Carolina State. And then I'm the youngest of three, so my two other brothers also played little college ball. My oldest brother, he played at Penn State, played for Joe Paterno, and then my middle brother, he played for a short time down at Grambling for Eddie Robinson. So, big football family. I'm guessing I'm kind of walking in my purpose now as a teacher and coach, man. It just, I'm like everybody else, man. It wasn't my plan, but it kind of fell that way for me.
Well, you didn't have much of a choice. If your daddy was a coach and your mama was a teacher, you was going to have to, and your brothers played, and you were the baby. You didn't have,
Sure.
you couldn't very well look at them and go, I think I'm going to do something else.
Yeah, it was a short time in between eighth grade and ninth grade for probably about a week and a half where I thought I was going to just not play football and play basketball, and like I said, it didn't last long, man. So,
Well, did you play anything else, or did you just
I
focus on
played
football?
basketball. Played basketball all through high school, but I tried track for about two track meets, man, and I just didn't have the patience to be out there all day. It is now. I will say this: it is one of my biggest regrets, though, just in terms of knowing what I know now and seeing it and knowing how I could have used that to help my football game. One of the things I wish I did do for a longer period of time.
Well, who was your high school coach at Sumter?
My high school coach was not Tom Lewis. I'm sorry, my brother's played for Coach Lewis. Paul Sauls was my head coach
Okay.
at high school. Yeah, he was actually on the staff when my brothers worked there. Went to school there, and he ended up being my head coach. It's crazy too, because my oldest brother 11 years older than me, and then my middle brother, he's 9 years older than me. So there's a big gap in between those two for me, and he he ended up getting a head coaching job by the time I got to high school.
So when you went to Coastal, what did you go in as position wise?
I played quarterback. So coming out of high school, man, I can say this: I was pretty good high school quarterback. Um, a much better high school quarterback than I was college quarterback. But so went there as a quarterback, and I stayed there. And I never changed positions. Tyler Thigpen was there when I got there, and so I sat behind him, red shirted, sat behind him for about that first year, 2 years. Got an opportunity to start as a red shirt sophomore. I actually might have sat 3 years because those guys they started the program, so all of them they were like the COVID babies before the COVID because that first year they just practiced, so everybody got a red shirt. And so I sat, play here and there after that red shirt year, and then as a red shirt junior, I got an opportunity to start '07 season and split some time in '08 with another one of my good friends. But overall, man, it was a great experience in terms of just learning about life. I had actually had my first daughter while I was at Coastal when I was 21. Um, so in the midst of growing up, I had to grow up even faster. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything for the world, man. She graduated 3 weeks ago, man. I'm so proud of her. She's getting ready to go to North Carolina A&T in the fall, so proud of that. Sure.
So how far away was Coastal from home for you?
Only an hour and a half.
So far enough to be away, but close enough to get
Yeah,
home if you needed to.
yep, exactly. And it's crazy, man, how I ended up there. My one of my best friends, he's a head coach back home. He and I played high school ball together. He was 2 years ahead of me, and I remember him coming to spring practice while I was still in high school. This is like the spring of my sophomore year, and he had been trying to find a spot to play, and he came on the field telling me about Coastal, man, and he was like, man, we're gonna practice this year, man, and like everybody's gonna all come together, man. And I was just like, man, I remember laughing at him, like, man, I'd never go there, man. Y'all don't even have a team. Like I couldn't imagine practicing and not having games. And lo and behold, 2 years later, man, I signed with him, and he had a large part to do with that. So it's just crazy thinking back on it, man. I remember that day. I'll never forget that day.
Well, how much of a role did your dad having played and your brothers having played? Did they push you one way or the other? They kind of let you have your head and go your own way.
And it's so funny, like they didn't, man. They kind of let me make my own decisions when it came to school. Like I said, my father played at South Carolina State. They recruited me heavily. And even Hampton recruited me heavily. That's where my mother went to school. And they, they never pushed me one way or the other. Obviously, they made it known that they would like for me to go to those places. But, ultimately, it's my decision, man. I'm just appreciative for that because what it came down to at the end, because Coastal was a newer program, man, I thought I'd be able to go in and kind of, you know, set some records and do some great things. And, while I was there, we did do some good things. So overall, I'm happy with my decision, man. I still talk to a lot of my teammates on a daily basis.
Man, that's awesome.
So, yep.
So did you know when you were in school that you wanted to teach and coach, or I'm not sure you wanted to play at the next level, but I mean,
I did not. Yeah, going into it, I still want to be close to the game. So like, my degree is in sports management, and I wanted to kind of get into the scouting aspect of professional sports. Like I just like watching ball, man. I like evaluating tape, man. So like that's just always kind of been a thing for me. So like that's the kind of the piece that I wanted to get into. Um, and so when I finished, the same friend I was telling you about that got me to go to school at Coastal, he actually moved down to Georgia. He moved to Atlanta and was teaching and coaching. And the worst part about being a red shirt guy, sometimes, they make you graduate in December, man. I wish I could have squeaked out one more semester. So, first of the year came around after I graduated. So I'm trying to figure out what's my next move. And I really didn't have anything lined up. And, his mom had worked with my mom and they had some connections. So he moved down. He was like, man, why don't you come on down here with me, man? I get you coaching, you see what it's like. And I started off as a parent, man. I've been going ever since.
So that was your first teaching and coaching situation?
Yeah, it was. So, yeah, like I said, so I graduated in December of '08 from Coastal. I moved to Atlanta on July 1st, 2009. And my first job, I worked as a para at Miller Grove High School. But my first coaching job, I worked for Ray Bonner over at Cedar Grove. And so, and then on that staff, like it's crazy how like you don't really realize how full circle a lot of things happen in this coaching game. So, like I said, my good friend Perry Parks is a guy that I grew up with. Like I said, he's the head coach at River Bluff High School in back home. But he's the one that got me down here. He was on that staff. Kareem Reed was on that staff, was the head coach at McEachern. Um, Miguel Patrick, who's at Ohio State, who was my head coach when we first got down to Crisp in 21. He was on that staff. Jimmy Smith, who's at TCU right now, he was on that staff. And Jimmy's from South Carolina. He's actually from my parents' hometown. Jimmy actually coached one of my cousins, or two of my cousins actually in high school. Um, and then L was also on that staff, Lawrence Smith, who I just worked the past 3 years with down at Crisp. He was my head coach. Recently got a job at Booker T. So it's crazy how like that from that, that 1 year, because I was only there 1 year, man. Most of those guys hung around and kind of built Cedar Grove and what we know it as now. But it's just amazing to see how all of us are kind of doing what we said we were going to do when we sat down and talked, like while we were working for Coach Bonner, man. And it makes me feel good to see that and think back on it actually.
So after the 1 year at Cedar Grove, where'd you go?
So after that, I was, like I said, I was working as a para at Miller Grove, and Coach Battle, who's the head coach at Banneker now. He was at Miller Grove. He got the job at Morrow High School. So I ended up going with him and went over there as the quarterbacks coach. And about mid year, he actually promoted me to OC. Um, like I was just doing. I wasn't ready at all, man. And he gave me an opportunity. I was grateful for it. But I think a large part of why he actually gave it to me saw that I was organized. And I threw some ideas out there, and he told me this stuff, and he made me his OC. So following that season at Morrow, uh, I went to Druid Hills. I was at Druid Hills for a year as a receivers coach. I bounced around a lot early early on. Did a year there. Then after that, I went to Pebblebrook, where I worked for Coach Tommy Macon. Um, and he coached college ball. He was at Georgia Southern. He actually coached battle when he was at Georgia Southern. So I was there for 3 years as the OC. I actually ended up replacing my boy Perry Parks, who I talked about earlier. He actually went back home, got his first head coaching job, and so I was at Pebblebrook for 3 years there. Um, and then after that, went back to Druid Hills for a year as the OC. Um, and then after that second stint at Druid Hills, I ended up at Westlake. Westlake in 16. Man, we walked into a very good team, man. I always tell people this, like when I got there and the kids that we had inherited, that were there with Coach Love, man, that was probably as good a coach group of kids that I had seen up to that point, just in terms of like kids knowing the game and knowing like basic fundamentals that a lot of times get overlooked, man. And I mean, granted, we had a first round pick on the team, AJ Terrell, man. It was that was a fun 3 years. That first year was especially fun because we made it to that fourth round game, and we ended up losing to Roswell, but I mean, it was just great to see, man. Like we started playing ball really well right at the right time and kind of peaked right when you wanted to. And we just ran into a hammer at Roswell, man. Those guys were just stronger than us, and it was cold outside, man. I remember that game well. And so yeah, did 3 years there where I worked for Coach Reed, and my last year there, like the whole time I had been working as a coordinator. My last year, I moved over to running backs that third year. I wasn't in the building my whole time there, and this was it was mutual because he didn't ask me to step down, but I told him that I felt like because I wasn't in the building, man, I couldn't be as efficient as I wanted to be. So I was assistant head coach, running backs coach, and was head coach for the JV the whole time I was there. And then at the end of 18, started interviewing for some head coaching jobs. And I had a few interviews, within the state of Georgia. Some things that they just didn't work out. I had a couple interviews actually. I was down to like the final two at about two of the jobs that I'd interviewed for. And some jobs I was pretty much in the mix, man. I remember going into a job and you know how it is, man. Interview season, and you looking at different spots, man. I had a presentation, and I had a different school's name in my presentation, and it happened twice, man. It's like, well, the first time I think they were gonna let it slide, man. When it happened the second time, man, I just kind of knew what it was after that. So that was unfortunate, but I actually ended up getting my first head coaching opportunity back home at Richardson Northeast High School in Columbia, right beside Fort Jackson. And this was 2019, so first year, man, we weren't very good at all, man. But those kids worked hard for me, man. I still talk to a lot of those kids today. And 2020 came and it was COVID, and I remember this is a kind of interesting story, man. Like my this was probably so I walked into there. They uh, hadn't been good for about the past 3 years, and I walked into the schedule like I had five non-region games. Three out of my first five were all top 10 in that classification, man. So
Mm,
that's what I walked into. um,
thanks a lot.
right, exactly. And in the area, the news they would do like a game of the week. So this particular week, we were the game of the week against another team, Camden High School, and I remember because we played at their place, man. And like I said, it was I like being back home, um, and it was great and it was fun. And but since we weren't very good, it was hard, man. Because I remember just seeing like people like, man, I had never lost to,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying. And so like it was definitely a learning experience, but I mean it definitely had some value to it. But anyway, we were the game of the week, man, and I remember standing outside our locker room where our kids getting dressed. I'm talking to my other coaches, and I remember seeing the refs walk in. I saw one particular ref. This guy, he used to be a ref when I played like rec league basketball, and he was one of those guys, man. He would call texts on like fourth graders, man. Like he was, man.
He was that
And
guy.
yeah, and I remember standing outside the locker room, and I told my coaches, I was like, man, some craziness is gonna happen tonight. I don't know what it's gonna be. I was like, but I just saw that dude. I was like, something is gonna happen tonight. And man, I got kicked out of the game, man. And he was the white hat. He kicked me out of the game, man. And I mean, we were getting beat bad, but it was a dirty play, like so. And my kid was all jacked up. Helmet was turned sideways, man. And I was like, you looking dead at it, man. And, got into it. And, yeah, I got kicked out of the game, needless to say. And, I had to miss the next two games, which one of them was against my boy again, Perry Park. We were in the same region that year. And, they won. And so I had to miss those 2 weeks. But definitely a learning experience, man. It's crazy, though, because I remember my principal speaking to her after it happened. She told me she wasn't upset. She just remembered. She told me that, like, she remembered hearing parents in the stands, like, and we never seen anybody fight for our kids like that. And I remember when I was walking off the field after getting kicked out of the game, the kid who got messed up, man, he thanked me, like, walking off the field, man. I still talk to that kid to this day. So, like I said, man, it was a learning experience. Then that following year in 2020, when COVID came, man, and the whole world changed, it was my hat is off to anybody that was trying to run the program during that time, man, because it was like South Carolina wasn't functioning how Georgia High School was, man. Like couldn't bring in more than like 15, 20 kids at a time, man. Couldn't be inside of the weight room. Like, it was just a whole lot of stuff that we had to adhere to, and it made it difficult. But my kids we almost snuck in the playoffs. So we played only a region schedule, man. Took two. We won the two games we played in overtime, man. We would have been in, but they came down to the wire, man. But I was proud of those kids, man. Like I said, I still in contact with a lot of them to this day. And then got let go from there in December 2020. And in the midst of that, January 2021, my mother passed. Um, so, I'm just had to find a spot, man. It's crazy, like trying to figure out what I was going to do. I had a lot of job offers to stay home. Had some guys that I had reached out back here in Georgia, but I called Ahmad Tinker, man. I was like, what should I do? He was like, man, you got 10 years in Georgia. You need to come on back. And, I lucked out, man. Coach Patrick got a job at Chris, man. And, I came down with him, man. And during that time, too, in 21, my daughters, when I moved back home, I've been divorced at this time. They actually came down to Cordia with me, man. So my daughter's been with me the past 4 years. My two older daughters. And I got a 2-year-old recently. Had a 2-year-old in 23 in January 23, man. So starting all the way back over. But like I said, man, those 4 years down at Chris, man, it really helped open my eyes to a lot of things as a coach, man, and even coaching on the smaller classifications, man. It's definitely, like I said, man, I really had no mentor as a coordinator. So I kind of learned a lot of stuff on the fly on my own, man. And when you coach at the lower classifications, man, like it makes you realize how much is players over plays. I got a young coordinator now working for me, and I tell him that all the time, man. Just get the ball to our best guys, and we can live with that. So that's kind of been the mantra for me as a coach and as a coordinator, moving into this head coaching role as well.
Yeah, sometimes we need a reset, I mean, I remember my first child was born without kidneys, and we didn't know till he was born. And
Right.
I had taken the head coaching job at Richmond Academy, and it was home for us. And, my parents lived there, and it was a great situation. My mother doesn't work, so she was going to be able to help raise the child. And we did spring football, and he was born, and he died a day later. And, it was just awful, and we already had taken the job. And
Right.
so after 1 year doing that, Tim Glanton was the head coach at South Paulding at the time, and we couldn't sell. It was during the recession. You were still in college.
Right.
So we couldn't sell our house back in Carroll County, so we moved back. And Coach Glanton was like, "Hey, man, come back and just from a middle school, you need to reset.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And, just had a reset. And basically kind of like sounds like you're doing, just started over. Just
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and it works out. And I look at you 3 years later, 4 years later, you a head coach in Georgia.
Yeah, man. I told, man, it's so funny, like looking back at it. I remember when I came down, like they did. We didn't have spring of 21. We didn't do practice. We did like OTA type stuff. We had the kids out teaching drills and stuff. And I remember because I was still in South Carolina. I came down for like a day or two, and I remember telling Coach Pan, I was like, look, man, I just want to be the best quarterback coach I can be, man. Like I ain't worried about calling no plays. Like whatever you need me to do, you need me to take out the trash, do laundry, man. I said I will do that. Like, like that job was right on time, man. And it was with guys that I kind of cut my teeth in the game with. And like we were on the same page, man. And it was like you said, that good reset, and it was with the right people too, man. So yeah, I love my time down there.
So you get the head coaching job at Luella this year, and were you able to do a spring there?
I was. So it worked out, man, with my principal down in Cordell, man. He worked with me, so I was able to get my full 10 days in the scrimmage. We scrimmaged McDonough uh, during spring practice, man, and we got some work to do. But what I can say, as far as from the standpoint as a coach, like I could tell our kids are learning what the things that we're trying to put in place, scheme wise during the spring. I could tell that. But you could also tell that we were inexperienced. So we had a lot of guys in the right place, just not being able to finish plays. So like that's what we're working to while we're in this summer grind now. But been pleased with the progress, man, and just looking forward to it all summer, man. We just been grinding and getting some organization and structure in place that the kids they weren't used to. Um, but they've been buying in, man, and showing up. I laugh at them because, like, they complain, about up downs and all this. I was like, man, it's still the same 55, 60 kids showing up every day. So like, we gonna keep doing it. Like I'm not changing. You know what I'm saying? So it's been great, man. It's been a good refresher. We got a lot of good kids, man, and you know, a lot of them are gaining confidence that I don't think they had before. So it's been a joy.
Well, unlike a lot of guys, this isn't your first head coaching job. So what are some things, this time that you learned from the first time that you came in, philosophy wise, and that you might do a little, I mean, your philosophy is not going to change, but, what did you come in to sell yourself to the program, like your vision for the program, and, things you might do a little different this time around, because each place is a little different.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, um, like what's crazy enough is like the building of my first head coaching job is very similar to Weller in terms of like demographics, staff, administration. So those things are very similar. But in terms of the kids that are actually my players, um, definitely have a lot more talent than when I was working. And these kids, they want to win. But we getting to the point where like that's the expectation. Like I said, a lot of them just lack confidence, man. And so from my standpoint, like my thing is BAD, be a dog. So like for us, it's believe, accountability, and discipline. And I mean, like we hammer that message into their head since we got there. You know, it's crazy, man, because during the interviews, this is actually the first time in an interview where I actually got to meet some of the players. I thought this is probably what got me the job, in all honesty, man. So, they had a group of kids walk me through the school, ask me questions and stuff, and that's kind of when I introduced, like, the BAD and everything like that. And I could tell the kids were like, they were liking what I was talking about. Um, but I think their feedback when they went back to administration is kind of what got me the job. And I tell them all the time, like I've been the same guy since day one, since those kids met. And I think that goes a long way with just being authentic in that aspect. But in terms of getting the kids to do what we're asking them to do, I think that's the larger part of it because a lot of them they're not used to a lot of the things that we're asking. Where a lot of them got to break this mindset of thinking stuff is extra. It's just normal. So like my freshman kids that I have now, a lot of what we're doing is going to be the norm for them once we get there, but we're not there yet. So just managing it and maintaining the standards, man. That's been the thing for us, and my staff has done a great job of that in terms of buying in as well. And it's just been very good, man. Like and in terms of just learning, what I always tell coaches, man. Now you're going in the head coach, even as a coordinator, man. Learn to delegate tasks like to the strengths of your assistant. Don't give them tasks that you know is maybe not resistant or they're not good at. If you give them a task that they're good at or something they enjoy, they're more susceptible to do it. So I try to, obviously there are things that got to get done, whether we like them or not. But I try to give those guys duties that are enjoyable or things that fit what they like to do. And just I don't have an issue asking either for them to do anything. But I think that my coaches they also see that I don't mind doing any task either. Like I've swept the locker room since I've been like I've swept the weight room. Like I've wiped the equipment down. Like I've done laundry. Like I've cleared the field. Like along with those guys. So there's no job too small for me. Like I always tell them. Like at the end of the day, my name is on this program, and there's certain things I wanted to look a certain way. Um, and so like just trust and believe like you're gonna get 100% of me 100% of the time. That's the way I view it, and I can see that those guys are reciprocating that. So I'm grateful for that.
So with your staff, did you inherit a whole staff, or you were able to bring anybody in? How did you approach that when you came
Um,
into this situation?
yeah. So you know how it goes in the metro, man. You only gonna have a few spots. But what ended up happening is I didn't bring anybody with me. I do have a couple. I got several guys that I actually kept from the previous staff. And a few of them, I'll be 40 in November, and I'm like probably like the second, third oldest guy on the staff. So my offensive coordinator is Coach Nicholas Davis. He's a younger guy. He was actually in the building already over there. He came over in like December, I believe. So I think he was going to be on the staff, if the previous coach had stayed on. Um, Coach Breon Atkins is my defensive coordinator, and he runs the weight room for us and the strength program for us as well. He's coming over from Newton. Um, my special teams coordinator is Coach James Roberts. He's been there, man. He's been at the school since it opened. He's worked for every head coach that's been there. And so he's kind of working as my football ops guy too. Um, and the kids love Coach Rob, man. He's just a mainstay in the building, and he does a great job for us just in terms of keeping me in the loop about what's going on with the kids because everybody talks to him. So he's done an excellent job. As far as the rest of the assistants, Coach Antoine Harris is my wide receiver coach. He has some coordinator experience as well. Um, Still looking for a running backs coach at this point. Offensive line coach is Magic Sanders. Um, he's another young guy that brings a lot of energy. He works in the weight room as well, and he actually, man, he played at Jacksonville State. And one of my guy that's younger than me from Sumter was the running backs coach over there with Coach Rodriguez, Roderick McDowell. and those guys were actually very close while Magic was in school, man. And so Rod is a real solid dude, so I can see why they kind of mesh well. Um, Defensive line coach Charles James, he was at Rockdale County last year. DB coach Quintus Bishop, who worked in the secondary last year at Luella, and then was able to kind of pull one of Luella greats, man, Rod Sweetie. He's been around the program, helping our kids, serving as a resource for our kids, man, and it's been great having him back around the program, man. And the kids are actually able to get eyes on somebody that went to their school and made it to the highest level. Um, Graduated from Georgia Tech and played in the league for several years. Now he's back pouring into the program. So that's kind of been my thing, um, in terms of getting the program like where I wanted to be, just reaching back out to alumni, trying to get as much support from all avenues, as many avenues as possible, but mainly the alumni just being and having pride in the program and coming back around and you know, not even from a money standpoint, just in total support of the program. Like I want the kids to be able to visually see these people that support them and want to see them do well. I think it's helped us make great strides in the short time that I've been there.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been seeing the media presence on Twitter and all that kind of stuff, and that's so important these days, especially when you're in a multiple school system like Henry, when you've got 7,000 schools in one system. You're going from Cordele, where there's just a one horse town, to back in the metro where you cut your teeth and you're competing
Yeah,
with everybody for the same,
yeah,
small pool of resources and attention and everything else. So putting it on blast, everything the kids are doing, and that's cool to see. I've seen kids doing stuff and Luella doing stuff, and that's cool for the kids and everybody else too, to kind of keep up with what the program's doing.
oh yeah, and that was like one of the things I told them when I said, man, we're gonna open this social media up, man, because it's the thing. Kids, they need to be visible, man. As for as many kids that share they want to play on the next level, man, like it's the resources are right there in their hands, man. A lot of kids don't utilize it. They don't maximize it, I'd say. So part of that for us is teaching them how to use the social media responsibly in order to get to the next level if that's their wish. Really at anything, man, because it can be used for so many avenues. So that's been a huge part of our program.
And I know Kareem is like the Don when it comes to that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
stuff. He's the daggum best that I've seen at, you know, marketing his program, and
yep,
Coach Reed's one of the best I've seen at that. In this day and time,
yep.
that's definitely a piece that you've got to have.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
So, how's summer look for you guys going forward? OTAs or 7-on-7s,
Yeah,
or y'all just working on the work?
well, we're working on the work, man. We actually have OTA tomorrow. We're going up to Rockmart tomorrow morning. So we'll travel up there tomorrow, and then we'll go to Spalding County in July. I wanted to this with this being my first summer here, I wanted to kind of put put my hands on the program, like what we're going to be. I didn't want to do too much traveling this summer, but I did want to make sure that when we did travel, that we were going to see some physical teams, because that's part of what I know in terms of we're going to have to see teams that want to run the ball and the ball. So I think tomorrow, uh, Rob Mart's going to be there. I know Coffee's going to be there. And several other schools, but those are two that I hope we see, that I know that they're going to run the ball, man. And like in order to win games late in the season, you got to be able to run the ball and stop the run. So that was strategic in that move, and then also we go to Spalding County in July over there with Coach Nick Davis and Coach Stevens. Burke County will be there, so I know those two guys, man, and I know they're gonna want to pound the rock, man. So like I wanna. like, and I told my kids, man, like it's like we're gonna have to be physical, to play football how I want us to play football. I'm an offensive guy. I play quarterback, but I like the game doesn't change, man. It's won and lost, in the trenches, and so I want to make sure that my guys understand that. So that's why we're traveling to the places that we're traveling.
Yeah, two of my good friends right there. I got to work with both of them. Worked for Nick. He was the head coach at Burke County, and Coach Stevens was our Dr. Franklin Stevens was our defensive coordinator and offensive line coach at the same time when we were at Burke County, and they've always been good to me and taken care of me and looked after me, and just been great friends over the years. And I'm glad they're still pouring into kids and doing a great job. And you are exactly right. Them two old heads right there, they keep it real, and they're going to be physical for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted my guys to understand that, I mean this stuff when I said we're not going to be a soft team. I think I told him like in the spring, like maybe it might have been day one. I said, man, like if a team is going to beat us, like they're going to have to work for it. Like I don't eat like you can be better than us athletically, but we're not going to sit here. You're not just going to ram it down our throat, man. Like I'm not. I refuse to go out like that. I tell them that all the time, man. So just kind of instilling that in some of the things that we've been implementing in the summer program. We've been actually doing like a BAD program, just kind of going in with a week's focus and having a mantra for the week and a theme, and kind of build that. A lot of it is just trying to build some mental fortitude in a lot of these kids, man, because these kids are way different, even from when I played the game 20 years ago. So a lot of it's that, but also showing them that you can stretch yourself a little more, like come up out of that comfort zone, and and for the guys that are doing it, you can see the difference. I tell a lot of kids, man, that first week was so hard for them, man, and I was like, the kids, you got to keep coming. It'll get easier and easier. There'll be hard days, but it'll be easier and easier on your body. Um, like I said, we've had close to 60 every day for the past 2.5 weeks, so it's definitely been a good thing.
Well, that's awesome. That was fantastic, and I know you're gonna get it done there. You've got the experience, you've got the resume, and you got the experience yourself. I mean, you're not asking them to do anything you hadn't done yourself, and you're definitely gonna get that BAD in them, that behavior. You're gonna get that accountability and that discipline in that Luella program, and I can't wait to see what you guys get built up there at Luella in Henry County. And I sure do appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us, Coach.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's definitely a pleasure.
Well, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.